Today on Project Aston Martin, we are going to fix half of the interior. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda out here with the Aston Martin DB7. As I noted before, the interior is in awful shape. It's just torn, ripped, scuffed, cracked, all over the place. Let me give you a little reminder. So obviously this car has a lot that needs doing, and as you can see here, just opening up that door, this door panel right here is just coming apart. I mean, I'm not sure if that's fiberglass or something underneath there, but that looks okay. But the leather here is just terrible. It's kind of funny because of all the things that are in actually fair shape is this upper dash panel. I don't know. I think this is leather wrapped. It certainly looks like it. I'm surprised that there isn't baked, cracked leather up there. Obviously, this dashboard defroster vent is totally perished. I actually can't find a replacement for that. I've reached out to a number of places. Nobody has one, but I think I have an idea for that. So I'm actually kind of surprised that this, sitting out in the sun, is in as good a shape as it is. But as you can see, that other door panel right over there, totally perished too. All of that upper leather is coming off. It's just sagging in other places there. So really rough condition. And then if we jump in here, I want to show you the center console is where it is really bad. So if we look at the top there, not only is it coming away, but this is all like hard. It feels almost like plastic because it is just thin, baked, and it's just crumbling. And so that is all going to have to be reupholstered. There's really no way to save that otherwise. Now, the thing I want to show you here and what we're going to tackle today is these really rough seats. This passenger side seat actually isn't in the worst condition, and I probably wouldn't do anything about it but clean it up. But it has a big tear on the seam right there, so we obviously have to get that fixed. And then if we look down here, you can see it's cracked, it's scuffed, it's really dirty. A good cleaning would probably be okay on that, but the driver's seat is in such bad condition. I mean, look at that. Not just the dirt, but how cracked that is. I mean, it is really cracked. Down here it is. You can see the piping is almost worn all the way through here. I mean, the seat is just in bad condition because obviously there's always going to be someone in the driver's seat, so that is really rough. And then this armrest is in terrible condition too. You can see here pieces of that top layer of leather have come off here. It's just dirty, polished, shiny, gross. So because I was going to get this fixed, then it would probably look much better than that. Now I was thinking I'll just take it to an upholsterer, just get everything reupholstered, that piece, the seats, the center console. But I actually reached out to a company called Fibrenew, and they do some resurfacing, reconditioning of seats. And it seemed like the price points for doing these seats, these two seats, and that center console was a lot cheaper than having the whole thing reupholstered, and it was going to be quick. So the gentleman, I think Steve from my local Fibrenew franchise, is going to come out here. He's actually going to do the work at the house. So I'm going to clean out the garage, get him set up so that he can reach everything. But then my thought is that by the end of today here, I actually might have half of the interior done, the seats and the center console. So the rest of it will actually have to go to a real upholsterer, but these might be in pretty good condition by the end of the day, and we'll see how it goes because you might have seats that have a little age on them. Instead of forking out a lot of money to have the seats pulled out, the old seat covers cut up for templates, buy new leather, having it all stitched up, reinstalled, you might want to use something like Fibrenew too. It doesn't have to be a real janky, beat up, beyond saving Aston Martin, but it could be. I mean, this idiot is doing it. So I'm gonna get the car set up here, let Steve do his thing.
So not all of the Fibrenew franchises are mobile, but Steve's is, so it was great because he came to the house. Now, he wanted to work on the car outside in the sunlight so that he could color match the seats perfectly. So I did move it outside, even though it was stinking hot. He was able to fix the crack in the seat by putting some mesh and then some material over it. He also had some interesting observations. So he said that at some point the seats had been sanded down and refinished and re-dyed. And so that was going to kind of limit the work that he could do. I kind of picture it like a car detailer buffing out paint. There's just only so many times that you can buff the clear coat before you actually run out of clear coat. Now, it was interesting watching him work. He mixes the paint and then sprays it on. It was drying pretty quickly, but in some cases he even used a heat gun to dry certain sections so that he could continue working on it.
All right, Steve at Fibrenew is done, and I will tell you, it's starting to cool off. It's about 5 o'clock, dude. He put in several hard-earned hours into this car. And the weather today was like 90 and humid. So Bless his soul, he's doing God's work. I came out a couple times to check in and film a little, and I was just sweating out here. So appreciate him doing that. Now, I will say here that he was telling me the big problem is the piping on here. If this is just going to be a refinish of a seat, kind of renew a single color, assuming you don't have contrasting stitching or something like that, not a problem. You know, I think that's going to be really easy to do. It's going to look pretty good. He was masking off the piping and then masking off the tan areas here. He actually said that these seats had been redone before, so you know there was only so much he could do because of the condition of the seats, and that's not unexpected. These are 25-year-old seats, but obviously down here, I want to show you where these were really beat up. He actually put in like a mesh patch there and then covered it up with some sort of filler, so that looks a lot better. I mean, it's just smoother, and I will tell you, the big thing here is it's just so much brighter. He was just talking about how much grime and dirt and Armor All and everything else that was in these seats, and they were much darker than they were supposed to be. So you got that done, and then you can see the armrest there, freshly painted. That's not all scuffed up. And what I will show you here is on, you know, the piping. This is the biggest problem, just kind of getting in there, getting the piping painted, and then the seat around it painted without it bleeding over. And you know, he was just out here doing detail work with a brush, but is that perfect? It's not. Again, if you don't have piping, I don't know that you're gonna really have that issue, but he did a nice job to get that all done. Now, the big thing about this is that, one, the car didn't go into a shop like an upholsterer for 5 days, take it off, make a pattern, sew up a bunch of leather, charge me for a bunch of leather, reinstall the seats and all that. From morning to afternoon, I've still got my car here. It's going to dry a little while. And then the big thing is cost. So obviously, you know, I got 2 seats done, and then the center armrest. Each of these seats was like $125, and then the armrest was $50. And then he charged me to finish up the sewing on there to get that fixed. And so he did that with a curved needle, which was really great. But the great thing about it is it's just a fraction of getting a car reupholstered. Now, most of you are not going to be a moron like me and buy a 25-year-old car and need to freshen up the interior. But some of you, like me, may just be getting in and out of your car on a regular basis and beating up the bolster here, beating it up there. Maybe you wear keys on your pants. Maybe you have rivets on your jeans, you know, those stylish high-end jeans that you like to wear. And you're just kind of tearing up leather seats and you're like, well, I don't have any choice but to live with nasty, torn, ripped, cracked leather. Well, you don't have to. A place like Fibrenew, especially someone like Steve, just works mobile. He can come to you, get it all done. So that is pretty awesome. So it's, one, the convenience of not having to take your car into the shop. 2, the speed of how quickly it's done. And then 3, the fact that it's a fraction of the cost of reupholstering. So you can get back to your fresh new look without all the cracks, without spending an arm and a leg. So if you want Steve's information, I'll put it in the description below. But that is the work that Fibrenew does. And that is half of the interior restoration here. And we will get on the rest here and get this car back on the road. Peter von Panda, out.
We can discover more and explore so much deeper.